final against Paris Saint-Germain. Mikel Arteta is keen to carry that good feeling into the final.
We talked about already what we have to do in Budapest, how we're going to use all the incredible energy that we all carrying towards that final. We need to go through the motions and do what we've done all season, which is win football matches. We win one more and we are the champions of Europe.
We will get to the Champions League, but Arsenal deserved Premier League winners.
Yeah, absolutely. 38 games. Whoever gets over the line first gets the most points, deserves to win the league. So congratulations to Mikel and his Arsenal team. You know, they found different ways to win football matches early on in the season. I thought they were more free-flowing. And when it got a little bit edgy, they found a different way. You know, set pieces was huge for them. I'm not criticising them, by the way. I'm just pointing to facts that they found different ways to win. And that's going to stand them in good stead when they play PSG.
Can they win that one then?
If you go toe-to-toe with PSG, as Bayern Munich showed with their array of talent, you'll get beat. But it's a clash of styles, and styles make fights. And I think this will be a good one because Arsenal will let them come on. We know how good they are defensively. They will bring them onto them and they will try and counter-attack. And if they go ahead, there's a real chance they can, it will be a surprise, but spring a surprise. I mean, you wouldn't rule them out. There wouldn't be a huge favourite in this game. I think the bookmakers would lead towards PSG. Of course they would, because they've done it before. They've done it last year, and they've got a huge array of attacking talent. But defences win games as well. So it's a one-off game. You can't rule Arsenal out.
And Arsenal have kind of won the title having a brilliant defence and goalkeeper. Yeah. Can you remember a title-winning side that relied so heavily on the defenders rather than key players going forward?
Off the top of my head, Chelsea were very much like that under Mourinho.
I see it's something like 15 goals, didn't they, one season?
Yeah, they were nice and solid, you know, solid, and they had attacking threats. Of course they did. So even like Lampard's from midfield, you know, prolific goal scorers,
Robin and Duff.
And they had attacking threats, but they all knew their job, and it was to work from a solid base. And I think this Arsenal team are exactly the same.
Yeah. So against PSG, I know you're saying it's going to be close and Arsenal can do it. Do you think they will do it?
I think it'd be very difficult. I think it might go all the way, this one. And if they was to lift this trophy and win the double, the big double, I mean, do you put them up there with the Invincibles, with the best team Arsenal have ever had? I think you have to on trophies. I mean, this is a fine margin. We're talking about, look at Mikel there, look, fine margins. If he never got over the line this season, we'd all be questioning him. You know, is he the right man? He's only won one FA Cup. Trust the process. That's what he told us, and you have to give him credit for that, because in the end, they've ended up lifting that big trophy. And that's a heavy one, by the way.
Yeah, he's got that one in the Champions League in a few days' time.
And they're young. They're all young boys still.
Yeah, they'll be keeping them together for next season. Right, next, more on the fallout.
So yes, Arsenal are champions for the first time in 22 years, and now they are targeting a first ever Champions League title. They're facing PSG in the final on Saturday. Kevin, look, all the noise that was around Arsenal, you know, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I never said that. But they blocked it all out and they've got over the line and they've stuck to their plan, didn't they?
Yeah, and, you know, they've got to be given credit, the board, for that, you know, to sticking with Arteta. He's changed and revamped the whole club since he's gone in. You know, he got rid of, shall we call, the bad eggs and sent them packing, got rid of some big characters and big names. So you've got to, you know, sort of think that's, you know, that's because that's big and they're big decisions. But what he's done is he built a squad over the last few years, and you know, they've backed him with money and big money, but he's got the recruitment really right, and that's why they've ended up being Premier League champions this year. And it's just interesting, I was just saying off air there, where Declan, once they lost that time at Man City, and everyone thought it, you know, the pendulum had swung their way. He's on the pitch saying to everybody, it's not done yet, it's not done yet. And that was the belief of what we knew. Well, I know what Declan's got, but also what Mickey would have instilled in that squad. It's not done yet. So, you know, this way, incredible for him. I'm delighted for Dec more than anything, I must admit, because, you know, he was a massive part of us being successful at West Ham, being part of it and seeing him up close and personal. He for me was the player of the season for what he's done for Arsenal. You know, but he can be incredibly proud, and he's a great lad, and great family around him, great people around him, so delighted for him.
Actually, we saw the footage of him as well at the end of the game when he heard that West Ham had been relegated, and his reaction to that. You know, he was visibly really disappointed, and that just kind of shows what a good guy he is.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's because West Ham give him the opportunity and the chance, and he'll never forget that, just because he's like that. You know, he's got all his family around him, really, you know, close, very low key. Although he's this superstar, you know, when you see him and you meet him, you just think he's a normal lad off the street, because no airs and graces about him. Everything's just very, very grounded, and that's why he's turned out, and that's why there's a lot of people who, you know, speak very highly of him, and rightly so. But he would, yeah, as we all were. You know, people who've been, you know, it's, I think, about 14 years since we brought them back up. I hope it's not. I hope we can do what we done last time when I joined went from Newcastle to the Championship, and they can jump right back up. But as I said, recruitment's going to be the key now.
Yeah.
I know when Arsenal got West Ham, the Arsenal fans think that they got him on the cheap. Declan Rice.
We got him half price.
When you were at West Ham and you heard, there's £100 million, were you thinking, oh, that's a lot of money, or were you thinking that's about right?
No, I was thinking we should get more. Yeah, we was. You know, I remember the boss walking in, David, going, it's 105, but we should have got 150. You know, 150. I think it would have been probably fair at that time, and it's only gone to show, because, you know, he's driven that squad and that team and been part of it, and you see him with England now. We all knew, you know, how much of a, you know, a proper player we had in the building at West Ham, and how lucky we was to be working with this lad day in, day out. So yeah, I'm absolutely delighted for him and for all his family and the people around him, because they work so hard, and you know, he does it right, does everything right, which is great. And he's such a lovely, humble lad, which is even better when you've got someone of his presence and is what I think is going to be another top player. And as I always say, he's the closest one I've ever seen to Steven Gerrard, up close and personal. And I count Steven as the best, one of the best in the Premier League era.
It seems like he's also got such an influence both on the pitch and off it as well. He's just so well liked, isn't he? Dave, look, in terms of going forward, where do they need to strengthen?
Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Because last summer Arsenal did a lot of their kind of bulking out of the squad. They increased the squad depth a lot. They've needed that squad depth this season. But they've got strength in every single position. There's only one area that you can kind of think, well, maybe they would upgrade in that position, and that's the left wing. I think right now they've got options there in Gabriel Martinelli and Leandro Trossard. Trossard's been brilliant this season. But if they are going to go to another level, maybe that is a position that they're looking at. But it's going to cost a lot of money to upgrade on those players. And it also means that they're going to have to move players on as well, because I don't think they'll be able to, say, spend £100 million and not recoup some of that this summer. There will have to be ins and outs for Arsenal. But it's such a great squad that it only just needs an extra sprinkle, and that's one to take them to the next level.
Is that what you think? Just a few tweaks? Maybe?
Yeah, I think that he's got a spot on. I think Michael Arteta will be looking at it, or Mikel Arteta, I should say. He'll be looking at it now, and he'll be thinking, right, okay, as they've just said, then he'll be thinking, right, where can I get better, and what can we do, and how can we manoeuvre people? I think he's spot on there. I think the left-hand side is probably the side where you know, Martinelli. Does he move Martinelli on, you know, and bring someone in and use that money, you know, because he's probably a better asset than Trossard, and Trossard be the understudy. You never know, but when you're at the top end of the game, and when you are number one in the Premier League, everyone's coming for you and hunting for you next year. So you've got to make sure that you get them right, and you've got to be a bit cutthroat. And I'm sure he's got it. He's shown that in the past. You know, as he's rebuilt Arsenal, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch, culture. You know, you can see that, the environment, what he expects, what you know, the respect he's got for the players, and also what he has for his players as well. So yeah, I'm delighted for him as well. But yeah, I believe that's probably the one position where he could go out and really strengthen it, and that would push them up another notch, I think.
Yeah.
Do you fancy their chances against PSG on Saturday?
Why not? Why not? You know, listen, you know, last year, you know, them great nights against Madrid and stuff